lovelies, and welcome back to Sundering Tarot. If you're new here, hi, hello, you are very welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. We are now doing our deck of the month, which, as voted on by my subscribers to my channel, is the Tarot of Dragons by Sean Mackenzie. And this is part of a series that I like to call Deck Strength versus Weakness. And if you are new to this series, let me recap what we will be doing here real quick for you. I'm going to cover the strength and the weakness of the deck of the month, in this case the Tarot of Dragons. I will also show you decks that I can substitute for strength or weakness. I'll tell you what the job of this deck is in my collection. I'll also hopefully give you a deck that also has the same job in my collection as whatever deck is featured. We're also going to go through the pros and cons of this deck to help you decide whether or not you would like to purchase it. I will also warn you, this is a 5-part series. So in parts 2 through 5, I will be giving pairings for this deck. That's both tarot and oracle, and these are perfect pairs and anti-pairs. So things that work and things that don't. But let's go ahead and get started in this deck. And no, I did not actually put this in order, so I apologize for it being out of order. But I love this. This is bright, it's beautiful, it's actually really colorful. This is one of those decks I had a crush on for the longest time, so I was just ecstatic when I got a hold of it. This was one of those, it screamed fire energy to me. And dragons made so much sense as that particular placement. And that's great that Sean Mackenzie made such a deck. And she purposely made this without dragon riders. So this has a happy home. It's actually my fire element deck in my collection, for those of you who may not have watched my decks of the 5 element video, which if I remember I will link that in the description box down below for you. But the strength of this particular deck is actually dreams. I think it's funny that I just flipped to the moon card, but it's dreams. So its job in my collection is calling attention to my dreams and the things that I would like to aspire to. Now, I do have another deck that also has that strength of dreams. And you may recognize this deck from the backings. This is the Mystical Cats Tarot. This is by Lunina Weatherstone. And the art is by Mickey Mueller, if I remember right. So for those that maybe not are so much into dragons, let me zoom you guys in a little bit further, that may not be so much into dragons, perhaps you prefer felines versus reptilian, this would be another deck you could reach for that has that exact same strength. And I actually love this deck. It is quite charming, and some of the choices for the cards make perfect sense. And because I do love cats, I mean, they're my familiar. This is also a deck that is not going anywhere in my collection. I quite love it. So I enjoy the fact that they have the same strength. They also do the same job. So another deck that has the strength of dreams is the Mystical Cats Tarot. Another job that calls attention to my dreams and what I aspire to is also the Mystical Cats Tarot. This deck doubles as both, as a substitute. So if I'm in a position where I can't reach for the Tarot of Dragons, the Mystical Cats Tarot is one I can grab instead. Or if I'm trying to pair the Tarot of Dragons with something that doesn't pair, but I need that job executed, I can reach for this deck instead, which is fantastic to have, and great to be able to know and utilize in your collection of, okay, if this one doesn't work, what's the next thing that can do the same thing and maybe pair or work better as like a fill gap measure or an easier accessibility item. And that for this deck is the Mystical Cats. Now, the Tarot of Dragons does have a weakness, and it only has one, and that happens to be life purpose. So as much as this is all dreams, which yes, your life purpose sometimes is one of your dreams, not necessarily relevant for everyone, because let's face it, we have multiple dreams, and they are not just hemmed in the life purpose section. But life purpose overall is the weakness of this deck. And in order to make up for that, though, there is a deck that I have that I can reach for, well, one of many that I can reach for, to replace that. So where the Tarot of Dragons may fail when it comes to life purpose, the Game of Thrones Tarot, however, is one that I can quickly grab a hold of to fill in the gaps. Or if I need a life purpose reading and I was wanting to use the Tarot of Dragons, but that's the downfall of the deck, here's another one I can utilize instead. Now I have multiple decks that would work for life purpose. So don't get me wrong, this is not the be-all end-all for life purpose in my collection, because I do have several of those that would execute that area perfectly fine. But this is just an example of one. One of many. Okay, so we've covered strength, we covered weakness, we covered the job, we covered other decks, but we're now going to get into some pros and some cons on this deck. Of course, this is a Llewellyn published deck, and as you can see, the colors are bright, beautiful. It's a standard Llewellyn cardstock that holds up pretty well, pretty flexible, but it is not easily broken down by any means. It's fairly good cardstock. Most of us can agree on that. However, as typical for Llewellyn cardstock, this has, as you can probably see with my camera, high gloss. And that can be really tricky to work with, a little bit difficult to see at times. I mean, it does protect the colors pretty well, but when you're filming or if you're in bright light, it can cast quite a bit of a glare and make the cards themselves pretty difficult to see. And I do love the backings on this deck. It's just, they're pretty. This is some of my favorite backings is what's on this deck. But because this is also a Llewellyn cardstock, riffle shuffling is no problem. So no matter which way you shuffle, these are probably going to be good. Of course, the deck is not edged. Some people will see that as a plus, some people will see that as a minus. It depends on the person, whether or not you like your decks edged. If you don't like them edged, then this is perfect. If you want your deck edged but don't know how to do it, you're at a loss. But if you like your decks edged and you like to do it yourself and be able to choose the color for purpose, for symbolism, whatever energy of the deck, then this is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and get into our packaging. So please excuse the zooming here, zooming in and out, because we're going to zoom quite a bit out. And I had to laugh at my ancestors because they asked for a piece of dragon blood. That's the crystal that is sealing my deck, is dragon's blood. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I know. Tarot of Dragons, dragon's blood crystal. It was huge irony, and it made me laugh when they selected that. And of course, this is standard Llewellyn packaging. Nice, sturdy, colorful box. And I'll zoom you guys in really quickly. So as of what, 2022, when the deck was released, here is your, oh sorry, 2021. Here is your standard retail price. It's about 32 bucks, which seems to be pretty normal much anymore. But it's nice, colorful, bright box. Magnetic closure. Yes, we love this type of box. Llewellyn does it very well. Pull string. Decorative on the inside. And we get a nice, huge guidebook. And even the guidebook, look at all that glare. Because the guidebook itself, the cover on the guidebook, has the same high gloss as the cardstock. So love it, hate it, whatever. But this is a pretty good size guidebook. And what's great is you get real estate when it comes to photos. And this is in full color. Yes, full color. Love it. And of course, Sean McKenzie designed this, yes, with no dragon riders whatsoever. She also acknowledges that she does not really do reversals in her practice. So this deck is designed without the intention of taking reversals. Granted, it's an RWS system. So you can read with reversals if you know the RWS system, which, let's face it, most of us read with the RWS. So this works just fine. And here's what I love about this guidebook. Not only do you get the full page, full color of the card, but you get almost a full page of text from Sean McKenzie. And it's fabulous the way she writes. And I apologize if you don't like guidebook entries or whatnot, but I kind of like Sean McKenzie's writing. So excuse me for a minute while I read this. Because I'm going to read this full card page to you real quick. A young dragon stands at the edge of the alpine precipice, savoring the first green blush of spring. It is an invitation no dragon can refuse. Her molted gold and orange wings unfurl in the sun. A sweet, warm updraft beckons. All is in readiness for her first flight into the unknown. She is brilliant and curious, a dreamer eager to begin her draconic journey. The white rose in her teeth holds her innocence, grace, and promise, and the white tiger cub her youthful courage, vision, and willful spirit. The tiger prances playfully at her heels as if to say, "Go on, be bold, test the air." A leap and a flap are all it takes to join the distant brace of dragons, winging over mountains, down valleys, and across the untamed sky. There comes a time in every young dragon's life when the impulse, the need, to plunge into the unknown rolls like a clarion song through her soul. The nest has grown small, and the world is so inviting. It is a time for change, for innocence to meet experience. Still, standing there on the ledge is not without its share of dread, even for the most recklessly adventurous among us. But there can be no journey without spreading your wings to catch the wind and lift you on your way. Without heeding the call to explore the nascent hero's soul within, attend the tiger's frisky urging, trust your passions, your dreams, and don't look down. That first step is a leap of faith. Take it. Yeah, I might have a little bit of a crush on the way Sean McKenzie writes. So, hey, Sean McKenzie, if you ever happen to joyfully see one of my videos, especially this particular one, about your deck, by all means, can I give you a writer's prompt and just let you write a book? Please? I will even give you a fantasy genre. just let me, please. I would be so happy. But yes, you get prime real estate throughout. You get dragon theme spreads in the back. And she does, I do believe, give you a notes section. Yes. There's quite a bit to this guidebook. And I really enjoy it. So the guidebook is worth it. I would call that a pro. Since the deck is intended to be read without reversal, some might say that is a con. However, like I said, if you know the RWS system, you can read the reversals in the deck with like no problem whatsoever. And occasionally I read this with uprights only, and sometimes I read it with reversals. It depends on what my ancestors asked me to do with the deck. So I utilize it both ways. Of course, another con is the fact that this is animal themed. So if dragons are not your thing, if you have issues connecting with dragon energy, perhaps this is not the deck for you. But this is a mass market deck, so it's fairly inexpensive. It's easily and readily available. It is still on the market. There's no sign of this ever going out of print in probably the next several years, or 10 years, maybe even beyond that, because it's a popular deck. The packaging is excellent. So, worth it? Not worth it? It's up for you guys to decide. And with this, I will leave you. I will be releasing the other parts to this 5-part series consecutively, for those of you that are not aware. So tomorrow, be on the lookout for the perfect pairing video. I usually like to send out the tarot version first before the oracle. And if you like this type of content, by all means, give me a big thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Comment at me in the section down below. And if you're curious about the previous decks I have covered in my Deck Strength versus Weakness series, go to my playlist section on my channel. I do have a Deck Strength versus Weakness playlist, a perfect pairing playlist, and an anti-pairing playlist, so you can find the sections easily enough. I've already covered other decks such as the Beautiful Beast Tarot, the Light Seers Tarot, the Tarot of Oneness. So this is about the 4th month or so of me doing this series. And I have plenty of decks. It's not going away. And I do have November 2023's poll up currently in my community tab. So if you would like to determine next month's featured deck of the month for this series, please, by all means, go to my community tab and vote on which deck you would like me to have and use and show you. Alright, my lovelies. Hopefully this has been informative. Hopefully it's been fun. And I will see you in the next video.